Welcome to the Crypto Guild. I'm your host Rahul, and on this channel we talk everything crypto. So guys, it's been a few weeks since I made my last video, had a bunch of things going on, but we are now officially back. Look forward to many more videos to come in the very near future. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about Cardano. It's been in the news a lot, and I think for mostly the wrong reasons actually. You have a lot of complaints about Cardano, really slow. They've got this peer review approach. It's really just a clone of Ethereum, not a great project. They keep over promising and under delivering, right? So let's get into it and let's see if there's any truth to any of these sort of accusations and what the future holds for Cardano overall. So first, just a quick recap. So what is Cardano? Cardano is the fifth largest blockchain project as of the time of the making of this video. They're kind of floating around $1.29, $1.28, somewhere in that range currently. And they've been as high as like $2.40 or $2.50 almost, I think at the peak of the bull run. And their CEO is Charles Hoskinson. Now Charles has my respect, first of all, and he's a former founder of Ethereum along with Vitalik Buterin and Dr. Gavin Wood. But Gavin and Charles sort of separated from the Ethereum project because they generally disagreed on the future of that blockchain project. So they went ahead and created their own, right? So Cardano launched in 2017 in September, I believe. Right, and it currently has a market cap of about almost 41 billion, if I'm not mistaken, right? Their network token is ADA, and it works on a proof of stake protocol, which is it's called Ouroboros, right? And let's just quickly go through sort of the Cardano roadmap as well, just to understand what are the key phases in the Cardano project. And then we'll talk a little bit about the FUD that's out there in the market, in social media, and a whole bunch of other places, right? So first up, so they have essentially five major phases. The first is Byron, right? So Byron is the foundation that allows you to buy and sell the ADA cryptocurrency, and they also created the daedalus wallet, right? I hope I'm saying that correctly. Daedalus, yeah. The daedalus wallet. The second phase, and that phase was completed, right? So they completed that phase a couple of months from their launch period. The next phase is called Shelley. So Shelley is all about decentralization. So this is about staking, delegation, and building in incentive mechanisms. And we are currently in the third phase, right? The third phase is called Goguen, and Goguen is really all about smart contracts. Now, smart contracts is really a sort of key feature of many blockchain projects because it essentially allows you to do things like NFTs, right? It allows you to do decentralized finance or DeFi, right? So things like that. So smart contracts is a critical piece of any proof of stake sort of blockchain, and Cardano is what you would call a third generation sort of blockchain, right? So Bitcoin was considered first generation. Ethereum kind of extended the work that Bitcoin did and introduced smart contracts, and so that would be second generation. And now you have Cardano, which is the third generation of blockchains. So we're currently at Goguen. Their first release of their smart contracts functionality is due out in August or September of this year, right? And they have two more phases after this, which are going to be, again, multiple years down the road. So the phase after this will be Basho, and then Basho is all about scaling and interoperability. That talks about side chains and sort of interoperability with other blockchains. And then finally, you're going to have something called Voltaire. And Voltaire is really about on-chain governance, voting, essentially how the blockchain will evolve over time, right? So we're in the third phase right now, and the other two phases they're pretty far off. I'm talking years. They're probably 3 to 4 years out before they're fully reach a decent level of maturity. Now that we understand sort of what are the big sort of phases of Cardano, right? Now let's talk about some of the FUD out there in the market. So a lot of people have been criticizing Charles Hoskinson for, doing this really slow, deliberate peer review kind of approach. And I just want to say, guys, I've been in software development for now like over 20 years. First of all, building enterprise grade software like in itself is not easy. It's a really, really complex task, right? And given that blockchains and crypto is such a new subject, even though it's been around for like 10 years, it's really got like gaining momentum like now over the years, right? And technologies keep changing, protocols keep changing, new protocols come up, right? So there's a lot of change in general. And what Charles has done is his vision is to build a blockchain and he wants to get it right? So he's not trying to be the first to get there, like Ethereum, for example. And Ethereum 2.0 will probably beat Cardano in terms of reaching smart contracts faster. It'll beat Cardano in terms of like reaching scaling solutions faster. But the truth is, making mistakes in the blockchain world it's not an easy fix, right? So if you just look at the example of like Ethereum, they decided to go with proof of work, right? So that's similar to the way Bitcoin runs. And then they decided that, well, it's very like energy intensive and a proof of stake system would be way better. Now they actually thought about this in 2000, started talking about it in 2017. And here we are like almost 3.5, almost 4 years later, and they still haven't been able to implement it fully. So mistakes cost a lot in the blockchain world. And I think that's what Charles is trying to avoid as much as possible. And at the same time, he's trying to sort of make sure that whatever he is building out for the Cardano blockchain, it sort of encompasses the best thinking in the space as of that time, right? So it's a pretty noble approach. Sure, it's way slower than an Ethereum, but this leads me to my second point. Blockchain is not a winner takes all, guys. So a lot of the people who are complaining about Cardano are probably looking to make a quick buck. And truth be told, you're probably better off investing in other projects which could give you faster returns than Cardano. But make no mistake, Cardano is going to do really, really well, and albeit in the future, but it's going to do really, really well overall. And I can't really fault this kind of approach, because given that it's such a new space, I think it's probably prudent to be a bit more deliberate, a bit slower in your approach, right? They've got some great partnerships going on with with African countries, where they're trying to bring a lot of education onto the Cardano blockchain. They've got a lot of overall users and generally a lot of supporters, right? Building software is tough, guys, and this is not even, I wouldn't even call this enterprise grade. This is for the world, right? So it's world grade, right? And you kind of have to be careful, given that a lot of blockchain sort of projects, it's once you make a mistake or once you implement something, it's hard to like just undo it, right? And as I said before, a good example is Ethereum moving from proof of work to proof of stake. It's been a few years and they still haven't completed the move. Now, as far as the subject of delays is concerned, that's kind of part of any sort of large software build. It's just sort of inbuilt into it. There's so many moving parts. It's really, really hard to do, right? So have some patience. Have your timeline be like a few years out, and you will see that Cardano will definitely be one of the, it's already number 5 by market cap. It's going to be one of the top blockchain projects like out there, right? And, I think it's a decent approach. It's a good approach. You can sort of poke holes at anyone's approach at some point, but given the newness of the space, I think it absolutely makes sense to kind of be deliberate, go slower, sort of get the input from the crowd, and make sure that you're building the best possible solution you can. So I don't know. I don't fault them as much for their sort of slower, peer-reviewed kind of like approach. And moreover, crypto is not a winner-take-all game. A lot of crypto projects, a lot of proof-of-stake projects like Cardano, Ethereum are going to exist side by side. You're probably going to have users bounce between these projects based on their many factors, like their overall offering or what all they offer. Stuff like how much or how little is the transaction fees, what is the scalability, how fast is it. So, overall, it's hard to say like who's going to win. Ethereum will probably reach a lot of these milestones faster than Cardano, but will it stay on top, right? Once a kind of mistake happens, Cardano is right there, right? So it's not a winner take all. There's going to be a lot of blockchains out there. People are going to bounce between these like blockchain projects depending on what they're being used for. So there's so many variables in play. To call Cardano an Ethereum clone or just too slow, that's just silly. That's just absolutely silly. It's not a clone. It's you know, it is what it is. It is what it is, and I think they actually have a really bright future, right? And lastly, let's talk about a little bit of price prediction. Now, price predictions are fool's game, right? But let's do it anyway because it's super exciting. So I say Cardano is going to launch smart contracts this year. It's due in the August-September timeframe, so essentially next month or the month after that, and they're going to continue to build on it. But I think once Cardano gets a sort of stability in their smart contracts, you're going to see NFTs and, you know, decentralized finance or DeFi, things like that come into the sort of foreground, and that's going to give it sort of like a huge boost, right? And I think a lot of investors like venture capital funds and other funds are going to see this, right? They're going to see this, they're going to combine it with the lower transaction fees of Cardano, and they might actually prefer it over something like Ethereum. So if you ask me, the end of year price for Cardano is probably going to be in the $2 to $3 range. And if I had to make a guess, it's probably be about 270, 280, somewhere there. That's what my gut feeling like tells me, and it has a lot more room to grow even after this, right? So the next phase after smart contracts is the scaling, and that's where we'll see like even more functionality get rolled on. But again, that's probably a few years out. But overall, Cardano, to me, great project. In full disclosure, I am invested in Cardano and I am a long-term investor, right? My horizon is 5 to like 7 years. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, so please don't take my word for it. Definitely do your own due diligence and research, but I do think it's an absolutely solid project. To call it a clone or just to call it like, a shittier version of like Ethereum, I think is just the wrong way to look at the overall blockchain space and, what it has to offer. So that's it for today, guys, and look forward to the next video, and until then, peace.